There we go. Perfect. Okay, excellent. Lovely. Well, thank you very much for inviting me to deliver this award writing masterclass today. I'm thrilled to be part of the team who are helping deliver the Sheffield Business Awards this year. Another great event. If anybody went to it last year, it was absolutely fantastic. So really, really pleased to see so many of you on this session this morning. We're probably going to run for about 40 minutes or so. Maybe a little bit longer. We'll see how we go with time, but there are, like I say, will be an opportunity to ask questions at the end. If there is anything as we're going through that you just want to flag up, then just type that into the question box as well, and we'll do my best to make sure that I keep an eye on that and answer the questions as we go through. But we will revisit that Q&A session at the end to make sure that nothing is missed. So that's great. So we'll get going. Like I say, it will be recorded. It is being recorded, which is great. But if you do want to take any notes, that's fine. And we'll also put some like top tips type thing on a PDF for you that can be emailed out afterwards as well. That will just give you a bit of a refresher on the key points that we're going to cover today. So a little bit about myself. I've been writing business awards for quite a long time now. My background is fundraising and events, but predominantly now do award writing for commercial companies, but also do it for charities and CICs as well, helping them, obviously, everybody raise their profile and get the benefits from entering and winning the awards as well. So that's great. I do a check and send service, it's like a critiquing. I prepare award planners for clients who are wanting to develop more of a 12-month strategy. You know, there are other copywriting services and things on top of that as well that we can deliver. So it's all round writing for marketing and business purposes. So you're in safe hands today, I hope. And this is going to be valuable for those of you who haven't done an award entry before at all, to also the ones who are a bit more seasoned in writing, but just need a bit of a refresher, maybe a different perspective, and maybe some things that you hadn't thought of as well when you're putting your entries together. Okay, so the plan of the action is we're going to look at how to choose the right category, because that's always the biggest issue I find with lots of clients is, well, which one do I actually go for? So we're going to put together some strategy around how to decide on that. Some time management tools, because best will in the world, you know, time is very, very short supply, it seems, even though there's still 24 hours in the day, there's never enough time. How to actually construct that entry and make sure it's the best it can possibly be, looking at the kind of evidence that you need to back up all those claims, and then the offers for some writing and support services from myself and the team at the end. Okay, so why entering awards is good for business? Well, there's lots of really good reasons why entering awards is good for business. You know, first and foremost, it absolutely enhances your reputation and the company profile. If you've got a team, it'll really give them a motivation boost, and it'll give you as a director or as a senior management a real boost as well to yourself to know that what you're doing is really making an impact and having some good results. It delivers that really good benchmark of excellence, so it can give you an opportunity to benchmark yourself against your competitors and show that you are the best in the business and why your customers and clients should buy from you and not them. Gives you that industry recognition, which can lead to other things. So you may be invited to do a profile piece, or you may be invited to do a column in a particular magazine, an industry magazine or paper or something, as a result of this, because you've elevated that profile a little bit more. It gives you a really good opportunity to review your business and give it a good analysis of where you're at, where you've come from, your achievements that you've had over the last 12 months, because actually what we're very, very good at is just keeping going and not really celebrating the wins as we go along. So doing the award entry in itself gives you an opportunity to review where you've been really successful, all the achievements, and then that may just be able to give you a little bit of a nudge as to where you might want to put your efforts to the future, if there'd been a particular service or product that's gone particularly well and you sort of overlooked it because you're just rolling on that process of going on to the next big thing. So it does give you a really good opportunity to reflect and look back. There's lots and lots of PR opportunities that come from this, whether that's through the papers, newspapers, magazines like unLTD, or whether it's through social opportunities as well. So, you know, there's lots and lots of ways that you can share that success out there, whether you've been shortlisted or whether you've then gone on to win. Excuse me. Some positive actions, you know, it's always great to do good positive things in the business, and that generates more productivity and progress for the business. And of course, we're in business to make money. Even if we're a charity or a CIC, you know, you still need to be in some kind of profit as such, even though those profits then go back into the organisation to deliver more good things for the beneficiaries. But, you know, that financial return is absolutely key, you know, and there are stats around there that, you know, a small business that wins an award could generate an additional 39% increase of sales turnover in the following year once they've won that award. So if you just have a think about that for yourself, think if you are a small business, what does 39% of your turnover mean that you could potentially tap into by winning an award this year? So, you know, if you put that number down, keep that next year, it'd be a bit of a boost, hopefully, for pushing forward with doing the entry. This is really key as well. Obviously, people making buying decisions all over the place, and you know, it's a very noisy place when we're wanting to buy things and we're wanting to look at who to choose, where do we go, what do we do. So, you know, actually 80% of the people who make buying decisions will choose an award-winning business over a non-award-winning business. So, you know, just keep that in the back of your mind as well. You know, you could be part of that core group that gets the business over the ones who don't. Okay, so now we're just going to go into a little bit of the detail about the Sheffield Business Awards. It's fantastic that I think this is the 20th year that they've been going, which is amazing to think it's been going on this long. But there's some key dates here that you need to get in your diary. So the deadline is the 10th of October. The shortlist will be announced on the 3rd of November, and the awards night is the 8th of December. Now, make sure you put all of those dates in your diary. Obviously, the first one is going to be the 10th because you're going to have to get that entry in on time. Try not to leave it to the last minute, and we've got some time management tools to help you do that. Shortlisting, it's an opportunity. If you are shortlisted, have that little mini PR plan around how you're going to share that news and celebrate that news. And then, of course, the awards night itself, pre-write that press release that shows that you're the winner. Get it into your mindset that that's where you are, but also manage expectations for yourself and others. You have no control over how those judges are going to, you know, what they're presented with and how they're going to respond to your entry itself. You know, you just don't know who you're up against and what the writing skills of the other people and presenting skills of them would be using the entry form itself. So you have to be mindful of that and aware of that, and just take it. If you don't win, take it as a learning and spur it on to do more and try and refine and fine tune that entry for the next time that you put your entry together. Okay, so choosing the right category. Now, this is always the part that's the hardest, you know, to decide what to do. And ultimately, writing an award entry, it's very much, it's your story. The judges want to hear about the passion and everything behind your business or your organisation. They want to get into the detail of it, but they want to see that shine through. So before you decide on the categories, and we will go through those in a little while, the best place to start is actually get a blank piece of paper or a whiteboard and just review the last 12 months of your business or your organisation. Write down at least 3 of your top achievements and success stories in that time. Who was involved? What happened? Where did it happen? Why did it happen? What was it in the business that changed that made that success happen? You know, how did you manage that? How did you use that to push yourself and the business forward? So just start doing a bit of a spider diagram, or put it on paper or on the laptop, or however you want to best document that. But and you can get the team involved with that as well, you know, and you'll probably think of things that you'd forgotten about. Like I say, this is a great opportunity to review where you've come from and what you've achieved, and really focus for the award itself. It is about the last 12 months of the business. There will be an opportunity to present, you know, your journey and where you've come from, and also what your future plans are. But the core element is based on the last 12 months. So make sure that you focus onto that for this purposes. You know, what does that business journey look like? Obviously for startups, if you're in the first year of business, that is the last 12 months of your business as well. But if you've been around a lot longer, you know, just document that on a timeline if you haven't already got that. See the development, see the changes and what's led up to the last 12 months being such a success for you. What has that success enabled you to achieve? Now, that is really core, I think, and something that gets a bit overlooked. You know, you have this success, great, brilliant. Now what? What's that done? You know, has that financial growth enabled you to get new teams on board? Have you invested in more equipment that's enabled you to be more innovative or more efficient in your processes? Have you expanded into new premises? How are you being innovative? You know, how are you being different in the marketplace? What products and services are you bringing in? So that success, you know, what's the impact of that on a wider scale? So how is that filtered out among your business, to your clients, to your staff, and the community around you as well? Be really clear about what makes you different from your competitors, because through the award entry, you'll be benchmarking yourself against those, whether it's stats and, you know, followers and things like that. But you've got to be clear about what your USP is, because that's the hook, really. That's going to be the thing that, you know, you use in your opening statement to show why you're different and why you've been so successful. Where do you sit in that marketplace? What's your market share look like? You know, be specific, you know, be specific about what your marketplace is in Sheffield, what it is in Yorkshire, and have the awareness of where you are in the UK or even further, but know what that is, and do a little bit of work about making sure that you can write that as a success, you know, as a really interesting strapline as well for your business. So that's where I would start. Before you start even writing any of the entries themselves, get all of this down on paper, get that journey, get those success stories, because that will give you a lot of content that you can then use and start to tailor into the award entry itself. So the categories that we've got for the awards here, we've got loads of actually really good ones, which is really nice to see, because there's a real broad spread here, whether you're looking at something that's a particular element of your business or whether it is the business as a whole. So it's really nice that we're covering kind of individual as well as company ones, as well as specific areas of the business that you want to shine. We've obviously got the Social Impact Award there, which is specific to the charities, social enterprises and not-for-profits. It's lovely to see that we've got that mixture. You know, we've got manufacturing, we've got professional services, we've got technology, you know, we've got high street retail as well. So there's loads of different things. And I would suggest that once you've got that sort of your story, in effect, there'll be opportunities where you'll say, well, that was a really strong area of the business. Maybe we want to put that forward. You know, maybe we are doing some really good stuff in terms of sustainability and being a green business, you know, so maybe actually we want to go for small business, but we also want to go for planet saver. It might be that we're also a startup business as well, so we might want to go for that one too. So write one and then see how that branches out into others. Get one done really, really well, and then look at going for the other ones as kind of a branching out from that. So the visionary, creative impact. Now, this is a really nice one for obviously our creative services. There's plenty of us in Sheffield who are working in all these different art forms and different areas of design and marketing, etc. So this is a fantastic one to just highlight those individual companies and those people who are doing some really amazing work. It doesn't necessarily just have to be about work that you're doing in Sheffield, but if you've got Sheffield clients and you're able to use those as case studies or testimonials to show the impact that you're making to Sheffield as well through the work that you're doing, either through attracting new people to come here, investment to here, through campaigns and things, then, you know, really consider looking at that one. Green business, the planet saver, you know, as you would expect, it's about the environmental impact. So it isn't just about, yeah, we do loads of good recycling, it's about a broader scope of how you are creating a really sustainable, if you're focusing on sustainability and looking at your CSR and all that side of things, your responsibility to your staff, as well as the way in which you do work, so fair trade and ethical and all of that. Innovator, so a new product or service. Now, this doesn't have to be completely brand new on the market, never been seen before. It will be something that has made you, disruptive in the way that you're delivering a service. It could be a process that you've introduced, could be a new product that you've introduced that's really kind of just absolutely gone crazy and gone out there. But it has to demonstrate that it's got that opportunity and potential for further growth and profitability as well. So, these are overviews of these categories. And I would say if you're interested in any of them, you need to go into the actual entry system, which we'll look at in a moment, and see what the criteria points are, because what is here in front of you is just an overview to sort of give you a flavour of what they're looking for, but there's some more detailed criteria points as you go into the entry system itself. Professional services, as you would expect, this is a very popular one because there's a lot of professional services out there, and it covers all different sectors and industries actually. So this is quite a popular one. Be mindful of that. But if you've got a story to tell that's really strong, absolutely go for it. There's no reason why you shouldn't, and that would sit nicely with small business, large business, as well as a sort of almost a duplicate in a way, but it has to be relevant to the particular criteria points again. So important to look at those. The automator, best use of technology. Again, it's relatively self-explanatory, as is Startup Business of the Year. You would think that you are in the first sort of 12 to 36 months of a business, being a startup. So, if that's you, then absolutely, this has got to be one for you. Social impact, non-profit organisations, charities and social enterprises. This is about Sheffield as well. So the national charities are absolutely doing some incredible work, but what we want to understand is how that has an impact to Sheffield. So if you are part of a bigger charity or organisation, the focus of everything in here is about what you're doing for the impact in Sheffield and the people in Sheffield. So that must be the focus. So if you've got a very strong story to tell with how you've, completely really supported so many people in Sheffield with what you're doing, then please look at this. And if equally as a business on this, if you know of a really good charity or CIC or somebody that, an organisation that you think is worthy of going forward for this, point them in this direction, because it really, really will help to elevate them to generate more support that they absolutely need. Quite passionate about fundraising and passionate about charities. So, the more organisations get the opportunities to promote themselves in things like this, to get the commercial and the corporate support behind them, the better. Manufacturing, obviously an absolute key for Sheffield as well. Want to demonstrate an efficient and innovative approach to manufacturing. So, covers all bases here with improved commercial performance, market share, operational effectiveness. Again, there'll be specific criteria in the entry system that you'll be able to expand on and tell your story through. Scale Up Award, the best business growth. Now this obviously need to have a track record of year-on-year growth, and particularly over this last year, where has it just suddenly gone through the roof? What is that doing in terms of enabling you to make a positive contribution to Sheffield as well? And how are you investing back into Sheffield, either through people, commercial space, using other businesses in Sheffield to help build as well. Employer of the Year, this is great if you are, particularly if you're looking to recruit new teams or expanding. I would suggest that this is quite a key one for you, because if you've got a really good employee engagement strategy and you are supporting the learning and development culture within the business, enabling career progression and really supporting the individuals with health and well-being, You want to attract new talent. You want to retain your existing talent, but you want to attract new because you're expanding. This is a great one to have, because to have that on your promotion when you're going out there to tell people that you're a business that they should be looking at, and they want to come and work for, having that Employer of the Year award would be a valuable marketing asset. Obviously, Small Business of the Year, it's a bit more like SME business rather than small business. So don't be put off if as you can see here, the turnover is up to 15 million. So, the scope is quite wide there in terms of small to medium business there. So, again, look into the criteria points, see what you need to deliver in terms of the information. But it has to have that strong financial performance there as well. So there's got to be some growth in profits, turnover, etc., for you to be able to be competing successfully in that one. And similar for the large business as well. Obviously, you've got turnover over 15 million there. But that's where you really want to be, showing how you're really pushing forward and delivering some great impact for Sheffield. And then the next one is the best entrepreneur. So this is the individual. It could be that it's somebody who's just developed a new product or created another business. Generally entrepreneurs are, they are the visionaries. They are the people who go out there and do things differently and change and create change within their industry or within the communities they work in. So, it's the inspirational individual. So if you've got somebody in your business who you think needs to have that accolade, if you know of somebody else in a different business that should be going for that as well, or if it is in fact you yourself that quite fancies that and would like to have that award for yourself, then absolutely go for it and look into the detail of it, because I'm sure if you've documented your story, you'll have a good story to tell. And then the last couple, we've got High Street Hero, which is great for the retail, hospitality and leisure businesses, obviously being so affected over the pandemic and everything. So it's great that we've got this here to really shine a light on the success that these industries are doing, and the important part that they're playing in Sheffield as well. And cultural vibrancy as well, which is lovely, a really nice one for the arts, cultures and events sectors and businesses and organisations. So again, what have you done to show that Sheffield is a fantastic place to live, work and invest in through the events, through the culture, through the activities that you're delivering in Sheffield for Sheffield. So that's the overview of the categories. And I think there is a really nice scope there. And hopefully that should give you a bit of an idea as to, yeah, actually, I quite fancy that. Or, oh, I could go for maybe that and that now. I think maybe that might be better for me. So it's certainly worth, delving a little bit deeper and setting up that login to go into the entry system itself. So if you haven't gone onto the website, which I'm sure you have, there is that enter now button. So if you go on there, it will take you through. You just need to set up a login, and then you can start putting together your submissions and entry detail. Just click to choose the category that you go on, and then you'll go into the system itself, and it asks you for a 200 words, kind of summary of the company, of the organisation putting forward. Then you've got your main category questions, which is about 700 words. And then at the end, you've got key business objectives and growth plans for the next 3 years. And that's about 250 words. So all in all, it's not overly complicated. It's set out very clearly as what the expectations are and what you're looking for. So this is a sort of what it looks like when you go into the back end system and the entry system. There is some basic details that you'll be asked to provide first, and some financial figures and things as well, which are just there. But this is basically what it looks like when you're in there. It's really easy. You can save it as a draft, and then when you're ready to submit, you can do that. I would always recommend doing it in a Word document or on Google Drive to make sure that you've got the word count right, that you've got it set out correctly, and then just copy and paste it into the system. But you'll see here in the middle where it says, why should you win this award? So these are the key points that you need to cover. So yes, you've got the overview on the website of what they're looking for, but actually the detail is here. And these are the key areas that you need to make sure that you're aware of and that you use to construct the rest of your entry. And we'll go through that in a little bit. But with everything, time is usually the biggest killer, I have to say. So, you know, there's never enough time to do everything, as we all know. But if you place importance on this, you will make time for it. So I suggest you go to your calendar once you've come off here. You look at the dates, you see when the 10th of October is, and then you work back a week and move the deadline back to the 3rd of October. Bring it back, because then you'll be able to have a little bit more time to do the check and send, potentially to get that proofreader connected, not connected to the business, to have a look at it for you and to really fine tune it. Plus, it may give you an opportunity to use that week to enter another award as well. So I would highly recommend, if you've never done an award entry before, you look at around 12 hours across your diary at some point, whether you do that in a couple of blocks across a day or 2 days, or whether you, you know, split it up amongst the team, delegate some bits to other members of the team to collect the evidence or get some testimonials from people, you know, do the writing, but be that editor in chief. If this is you doing it for the business or the organization, make sure that you are the one pulling everything together and keeping on top of that timeline. It will give you, within that 12 hours, it will give you the chance to do the proofreading and do any of the amends and things as well. And if you do it early enough, you then sit on it for a little bit, leave it, then go back to it, and then you might find, well, actually, I want to include that, or suddenly there might just be an amazing contract that's come in that's just gone way, just boosted your turnover levels immensely, you know, and actually you just need to revisit that. So I wouldn't click submit until much nearer the deadline itself, but be more prepared in advance of that. And that will give you a chance to enter another category if you've, you know, you feel that actually you do want to do that. So some time management tools, you know, the 10 to 1 rule, you know, if you put an hour of focus and planning into the preparation, so doing that pre-work before you choose the category, all of that will give you so much time back in the long run, not necessarily just for these awards, but certainly for future awards as well. So many opportunities there where you can reuse this information and this content and copy that you're creating now for future award entries. And it will just be a case of updating and slightly amending to fit to the new word counts and things, but put the effort in now and you'll get the rewards later. Avoidance behavior. So we need to stop doing that. And it is very difficult to do. And avoidance behavior will be things like, and you'll notice yourself doing it now, things like, I'm just going to send this email, have a coffee, go to the loo, then do this, and then I'm going to write the award. And then before you know it, it's midday. I'm just going to go for lunch and get my brain in gear, and then I'm going to do this. No, stop doing that and start doing it when you say you're going to do it, because it's very easy to put awards to the back burner and think, I'll do that another time. I'll do that, because our core activity of what we're doing in our businesses to try and keep everything going must take precedence. However, this is a marketing strategy. This is a marketing opportunity that's going to generate potentially 39% sales turnover for you in the next 12 months. So start rethinking things and stop using that avoidance behavior to push it to one side. Use that single handling technique when you actually go to write the awards. So if you can, go into a quieter room, if you're in a busy office, get yourself in that focus mode, turn your Wi-Fi off, turn your Outlook and everything off, don't get any notifications on your screen, and just focus and say, right, I'm just going to write and absolutely to the perfect, where I'd be happy for that to be submitted. I'm going to write that first section, or I'm just going to write this 700 word section to the best of my ability, then I'm going to hand it on, then I'm going to break off and give myself a coffee. So, you know, if you focus on that single handling technique to doing that, you'll be much more efficient in everything that you do. And anybody heard of the Eat That Frog? So this again is a brilliant tool for not just for awards, but for any other big jobs that you really don't like doing. And just imagine that the award is this great big slimy disgusting frog sitting on your desk. and it just gets smellier and more disgusting and more slimy, and it starts going all over your desk and all over your keyboard. Well, that is the award. And the minute you start eating that frog and getting it off your desk, the much more productive you'll be with the rest of the activities and things on your task list. So those are a few tips that you can use for the awards, but also for other areas of the business as well. Because really, you need to be doing this, and we don't want you to be like these guys here. So the sooner you can get on with focusing this into your diary, the better. Okay, so now we're just going to look at how you would construct your entry itself. What you can do is break down the question into very specific criteria points. So as we'll see in a moment, I've pulled out one of the questions, got the criteria points. So if you do that, you've got 700 words, divide that word count by the number of criteria points. So for the starter one, which we're going to cover in a moment, it actually has got 6 criteria points in there. So when you think about it, that's only 116 words per criteria point. It's not that much. So if you break that down, apply the single handling technique to just doing 1 or 2 of those criteria points, but doing them really, really well, then you'll get this nailed really quickly, and really it's much more straightforward when you start breaking it down. Use the subheadings in your content as well, is my recommendation. It keeps you on track with what you need to write. It makes sure that the judges are aware of what you're answering and how you're answering it, and it keeps it really focused and easy for them to read. You want them to be able to go, oh, I get everything there. I totally get that. Right, 5 points, 5 points, 5 points, 5. You want that to happen. You don't want them to go, well, I don't know even if they answered that, or that's a bit confusing, or, well, they've only written 20 words for that. What's that? That means nothing. You need them to be able to understand everything clearly, but, go up to the word count if you can, as much as possible, and I would say the least you could do is 10% under. But even that, with 116 words per criteria point, I think you'd be pushing it to give them a full explanation, even going that. Okay, so example here of the Startup Award. So this recognises a business that's turned an idea into a successful business venture, disrupting the industry in which they operate and already making a positive contribution to the economy of Sheffield. That's the overview. You must be able to demonstrate success and have a clear plan for future growth. Great, that's fine. You can do that in that last question. Put that to one side for the moment. So what the judges are looking for, these are the criteria points for scoring. Identification of market opportunity. So that's your research. You should have already done that if you've done that journey planning document anyway. So you've understood where you sit, you understood where the gaps were, and that's when you decided to enter the market. Evidence of significant growth and sustainable financial performance. Again, something really easy to tackle there. You've got the financial figures there. You've got that benchmark of where you started perhaps at 0, or in the last 12 months, you might have done a 50 or 100,000, and now you're on 200,000. So you'll be able to document that either as a percentage figure or as a financial figure itself. Sustainable financial performance. How do you do that? Well, you're looking at obviously your future, your pipeline of what you've got coming in, what you're targeting, the ways in which you are going to be attracting that new business, and what projects you've got in place to be able to demonstrate and prove that you're going to go forward and be successful as a sustainable business. Innovative products, services, and/or operations that have led to this growth. Again, you look back to your review document and say, okay, well, we did that. That was a success. So that's led to the growth. That was the key element that we did in the business that was the game changer. And that's what we've done. And this is how it's panned out. So that's where you're able to demonstrate that. Again, we've got sustainable financial performance there. So actually, we can probably drop that off because we've already covered that. Anyway, business strategy and plans for future growth. Again, we will be looking at that separately in that other 250-word answer anyway, where you can talk about your vision and your mission and where you want to be and what your target is in terms of employee growth, expansion of locations, client numbers, obviously, you know, financially where you want to be in 5-10 years time. So all of that will be there for you, you know, to put there, but you'll be able to bring a snippet of that out, because obviously you've only got 116 words for that part. And an ethical approach to business. So how are you being an ethical business, and how does this benchmark against some of your competitors as well? You know, if you don't, these are all areas that we should easily be able to answer in our businesses. If you find you're struggling with it, with any part of it, then, you know, do give me a call afterwards and we can talk through any areas that you may want to go through, and sort of explore a little bit of how you can phrase that and how you can put that forward. But these should be things that you can at least make a good stab at for the first part. So when you're doing your submission, you can either do it in first or third person. I would say first person is probably better, because you can be a little bit more passionate about that. We, our, you know, I, all of that. If you're doing third person, you're a little bit more removed. However, you may, it's entirely preference, but just once you've decided, just stick to it. Use that strong evidence-based statement to capture the judge's attention at the beginning. You know, fly that flag of success right at the beginning to hook them in, and then start to disseminate that, you know, and prove how you've done that through the rest of the entry. Again, it's establishing the evidence. So when you're writing something saying we are fantastic, well, how do you know that? You know, how do you know that? Have you got customer surveys? Have you got, you know, your staff retention figures, the customer retention figures, the new business that's coming to you? All that evidence is there really to demonstrate and prove that you are fantastic in your business. So, you know, be aware of what you're writing and how you can back that up with some evidence. Less is more with all of this, because we are on a tight word count as well. So I would be really mindful of write as much as you can at the beginning, but then start condensing it down and getting the fine-tuned points in there. Case studies and testimonials are great, but with the limited word count, there won't be much scope for you to be able to add too many of those in. I would highly recommend putting a testimonial of one or another of something in there, whether it's a staff testimonial, a client testimonial, or whatever, but try to get something in there. Just be really mindful. It can't be very long, because otherwise it's taking up all your word count. Make sure you are avoiding the jargon, the acronyms, the colloquialisms. Don't be over familiar or too conversational. It's nice to be personal, but we still need to be professional in the way that we write as well. Don't let that overshadow your passion coming through, and be individual and personal the way that you write. If that's your natural style, let that come out, but also maybe tweak where you are using a bit of a conversational comment and things as well. So make sure, you know, this is a written document, it's a marketing piece, and you want it to come across in the best way possible. This is an example here of ways in which you can reduce your word count substantially, saying exactly the same thing, just a little bit differently. And don't go overboard with too many adjectives. Can get a bit adjective crazy if you're not careful. So just again, but with the tight word count, you know, that will help to avoid that anyway. There may be a few grammar police judges out there. Don't let it worry you too much, but obviously, you know, it will make a difference in how it's read right when they're first reading it. Then they'll go back and go, oh, that's what they meant. So, you know, a comma can save a person's life. We don't want to eat grandpa. You know, we don't want people to be dinner in the end. So just be aware of how the phrasing is coming across and make sure it's done in the best way possible. Again, that's something that might be picked up by somebody who's doing a proofread for you. Obviously, we would expect everybody to be honest and truthful. You know, the judges will do their due diligence to check out the claims and figures. If they know you as a business and that doesn't seem quite right, they've not heard you talk about that before, they might go into a bit more detail. If they don't know you as a business, then they might go and find out a little bit more about you anyway. And if they find that something isn't quite correct to what you put on your entry, that might put them off. It could potentially get you disqualified. Using bullet points is a really easy way of keeping down your word count as well, and keeping on point with what you want to say. Would highly recommend you do that if you've got 3 or more ways in which you are demonstrating that particular criteria. So like, we are fantastic in this way, you know, as an example. It just makes sure that you're on point with everything and you're really clear about what you want to say. Again, it's about showing the impact. Always drill down into that detail in the data, the stats and the evidence that you've got to back everything up. You know, whether you can collate and put together a spreadsheet that then tracks on a monthly basis what your followers are, what your Google rating is, what your survey results for your customers are, what your client retention is, what your staff retention is, and have that documented in an Excel spreadsheet, so that you, by the end of 12 months, when you come to do this again next year, you've got all that evidence there now. So it's just about being award ready. You've still got time to document that for this month and to track back on where you were this time last year, potentially, but really try going forward. It's a good exercise to be able to start pulling all of that together at this point. So we've come to the end of the practically bang on time as well, which is always good. But these are just a few little offers here. If anybody is wanting that check and send critique service, then please do get in touch. I would need to have a look at the drafts by the 1st of October. So you need to get your writing head on and get those over to me if you'd like to access that service. It's absolutely fine if you don't, but obviously I'm there if you just want that professional review of what you've done so far. For those of you who've actually come onto the session and booked onto the session today, I am doing a 50% discount per entry. So if you want to get in touch, and sometimes I've had the phone ring as soon as I've finished the webinar and go, oh, Lucinda, I don't think I've got 12 hours in my diary to be able to do this. Help, I need you to help me. Then please do get in touch on the email or on phone there. Very happy to support you and help you get over you know, the barriers that you might be coming across to put this entry together. And then if there are any questions, I'm happy to take the questions now. If everything has been covered, then you know, absolutely go forth and conquer. And I'm sure, you know, you'll do a brilliant job, and I look forward to seeing you know, all of your names up there on the shortlist, hopefully as well. So does anybody have any questions at all? If you haven't, it's fine. You can use the Q&A box, or you can use the chat box if anybody's there. And if not, that's not a problem. So all I want to say now is just a massive good luck to everybody. So thank you once again for joining us. Like I say, you've got the details of where you can get in touch if you need that additional help, but really appreciate being able to deliver this, and I hope it's been some value for you all.
That was great, Lucinda. Thank you very much for that. If anyone does want to ask a question, we'll just give you another minute if you are typing. But if we don't hear from you, like I said, feel free to contact Lucinda after this and she'll provide you with contact details, and we will circulate this recording.
Brilliant.
All right. I don't think there's anything coming in, so you've obviously answered everything.
Yeah, hopefully.
Well, so yeah, thank you. Right.
Lovely.
Thanks again. That's brilliant.
Thank you.
Have a good day, everyone.
Bye. And you.
Bye. Bye. Bye.